And we certainly thank you for staying with us. Oliver Scholars helps Black and Latinx students reach their potential as next generation thought leaders as well as trailblazers by removing economic and social barriers. Here now sharing more about Oliver Scholars and their upcoming gala is Mark Hall, who's the Director of Admissions and Placement, and Assistant Director Alex Fernández. And welcome both to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Good. So we hear the word Oliver Scholars, right? And somebody says, well, who are they? How do you define you guys?
Well, Oliver Scholars is a program that throughout the city we try to find high-achieving, hardworking 7th grade students, and we, over the course of 14 months, put them through a program that prepares them and also places them in some of the top independent schools in the city and across the Northeast, and sometimes in California as well. We have some new exciting partnerships with some boarding schools in California in the last 2 years.
And so as you're going out there surveying the land for these students, obviously you find them, and then what happens?
So it all starts with our nominations, and so anyone can nominate. It can be a family, it can be a school. It all takes place online, and the nomination just identifies the student, what school they go to, and then from there we invite them to an open house, so they learn more about the program before they fully apply. Once they apply, we'll test the students, and from there we'll interview them. That's the final part of our phase, and we actually just wrapped up our interview weekend this past weekend.
And so for students, you because you're a former alum as well, huh?
Yeah.
So what was it like for you going through the process?
It was scary. I had no idea what Oliver was about. I had no idea what private schools were. I had gone to public school for elementary and middle school, but my father really pushed it on me, and so for me, I was learning a lot about sort of myself, my academic strength, because in middle school it was easy, and I got to Oliver and it was really hard, but it truly over-prepared me, I'd say, for high school and college.
That's great. And so you have a great gala coming up.
We
Yep,
do, tonight,
definitely.
actually. I have to go home and change.
That's it. You're looking good right now, man.
Yeah, I think we're expecting over 350 guests, and it's one of our major fundraisers. I think we're going to honor a number of scholars as well tonight that will join us, and we're really excited about the evening.
When you talk about preparing yourself, obviously you got prepared for something that you weren't even ready for, didn't even know what you're ready for.
Right.
On the other side now, you're on the other side of it. What do you say to prospective students coming in about why this is such a great program to be involved in?
So one of my main pitches, I guess, would be that I went to boarding school as a scholar, and what I talk a lot about is the Oliver family, right? It's not just about preparing the students to get to their schools, but it's supporting them while they're there. It's continuing to support them while they're in college, and really helping students feel that they have someone in their corner 24/7 once they're in the program.
So once again, somebody's watching right now saying, listen, this sounds really great. How do I get my young person involved?
oliverscholars.org. Anyone can nominate. It doesn't have to be through a school. That's where we usually find scholars, but aunt and uncle, even a student can nominate themselves, and we'll get in touch and start the process that way.
Yeah. So educationally, right, you're preparing them for a level of education and even exposure to things they've never actually been exposed to. And you talked about the wide reach, right? Now you're out in California and things of that nature. Give us a little bit more about the network.
We have several partner schools. They could be, like Alex said, boarding schools like Andover and Exeter that are large schools, or small schools like St. Andrews in Delaware, but also schools in the city like Trinity and Brearley and Spence. So what we try to do is develop, over the last 35 years, develop relationships with those schools in which they trust the preparation that we're going to put kids through and the support that we're going to provide for them so they can be successful in their 4 years at these schools.
And so for Alex, looking back, and you look back at your experience now, what does it mean as far as, your experiences to where you are today?
Sure. For me, it's been a privilege to be on the admissions side and be able to look for students that somewhat resemble me. And what I say all the time is that these 7th graders nowadays are definitely much smarter than I was back then. So for me, it's been really fulfilling to go through the full cycle where I meet them in September and October and then see them accepted in the program in May and see them enroll in our summer program and just get to see that growth and that development. As an alum, as a staff member, that's been a true honor.
And what advice do you give them?
Hang in there. You know, our summer programs and our preparation is meant to be rigorous. And so, you know, we try our best to encourage them to hang in there. The first few weeks will be hard. They'll go from getting A's and B's to a couple C's and D's, but at the end, it's meant to do that. It's meant to over-prepare them for their experiences.
And as I was asking, Mark was over here shaking his head like real tough. Yeah, that's exactly what goes on.
Yeah. Well, I think the point that we really want our scholars to learn through our summer program and our Saturday classes is that it's not enough to be smart. You got to work hard. Yeah. And, you know, they're going to go to schools where everyone in their classroom is smart. And to set themselves apart, they have to be willing to work just as hard as anybody else to be successful.
Yeah. So tonight's the gala. Excited?
Definitely.
Excited.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you got alums coming back?
Yep. We're going to honor some alums at the gala tonight. There'll be some of our older alums in the crowd who are now, you know, sponsoring tables and things as such. So that's exciting. And just looking forward to raising more money so we can reach more scholars.
The big key is, I think, exposure, right? And there's a level of exposure. For you, what was that exposure? What did that exposure mean to you, given the fact that, you know, listen, you're going some places where other people have never been.
Yeah.
And only a select few.
Yeah, definitely. For me, it was eye-opening, right? I'm a only child from a Dominican family. No one had gone to private school in my family. And what I talk to families a lot about the transition is going from, you know, being born and raised in Harlem and falling asleep listening to sirens and some Spanish music outside, right, to transitioning to Concord, Massachusetts, where I go to sleep listening to crickets as I sleep. And so just the exposure to these different communities and these different cultures really helped to shape who I am today. And the boarding school piece definitely helped to sort of make me a little more independent, a little more mature, and really guide me through what is life, you know, what life is right now.
Yeah. Well, guys, I want to thank you guys for coming, and congratulations. I know it's going to be a great night.
Thank you. Really
Really excited about tonight, and keep up the great work.
Well,
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Mark, Alex, thanks much again. All right, now listen, the Oliver Scholars Gala is taking place tonight, Wednesday, May the 1st, 6:30 at Mandarin Oriental, 80 Columbus Circle. Now, if you want to find out more information, all you got to do is visit oliverscholars.org. And we encourage you, don't go anywhere because we got more open coming up right after this.